There's a reality that's becoming more and more obvious as AI gets better. It's in this where you can either adapt or you get left behind. And in the case of productivity, there are more and more tools getting created every single week to help save you time and even make you more money. So I've put together the 4 best tools that can literally double your time. Now, ladies and gents, for the last year or so, I've been so blessed to have and hire my own personal assistant. And let me tell you, some of these AI tools are getting so good, I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna get rid of my personal assistant. If you don't have anything like your own assistant, let me tell you, some of these tools come really, really close. And obviously first, we need to talk about the most popular AI tool I'm sure that you guys have heard of, and that's ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT has been the staple one that I've continued to use, but alongside ChatGPT, there are some other competing AI tools that might arguably do an even better job. This is mostly because people right now have very specific use cases for these text-based AI platforms. So whether it's ChatGPT or Google's own version called Bard, these type of tools can be used to your advantage, where if you need help with writing, asking for advice and feedback, collecting information, researching, and even finally coding can all come to life. Now, we could go through and rank each one of these, but I think the 4 factors we should instead just look at is 1, aptitude, depth, description, and how well it codes. Now, aptitude is a pretty interesting one to start with because ChatGPT was trained on information that cuts off as of September 2021. What this has meant for a while now is that there hasn't been a way to get current events into ChatGPT. And on the flip side of that, Bard, which is still mostly owned by Google, has no information cut off. And actually, earlier, I even asked Bard for a summary of something that literally happened today, and it was still able to tell me about it. So it should be a pretty clear winner for Bard, but in this case, it's not, because ChatGPT also recently added a plugin that connects to the internet via the Bing search function, effectively removing the knowledge cutoff. Now, Bard still benefits in that capacity though, because to get rid of that knowledge cutoff on ChatGPT, you have to pay for ChatGPT Plus, whereas it's free for everyone to use it on Google's Bard. But that being said, Bard is sometimes inconsistent in how correct it actually is, so I'm slightly swayed towards ChatGPT here. In terms of depth, I found that they're very similar in terms of how well they know things, but I'm going to give this category to ChatGPT because it tends to give a lot more details when you ask for a specific request or task. On top of that, Bard doesn't remember previous conversations like ChatGPT does, meaning the amount of depth that you desire won't be remembered. Now, descriptions are for sure where Bard shines through though, because Bard is really good at putting together a lot of information and summarizing it into shorter descriptions. So it turns out that the average response that you get from Bard, especially with little prompting, tends to be clearer and provides more help than with ChatGPT. However, ChatGPT also happens to win in the coding section because it does such a good job and it explains how everything works, and generally it just writes better code. So overall, I'd still stick with ChatGPT, but as these both develop, I'd recommend continuing to play around with each one every now and then. Now, this next tool here is very simple, but it also has a potential massive ROI, and this is Motion, which is designed to be your own AI personal assistant, and it's trained to help you manage your calendar and to-do lists based on your working habits and schedule. Now, according to the app itself, you can be apparently 137% more productive with this tool. And basically, the way it works is that you input your to-do list and any meetings you need to do in a day. Using their AI technology and estimations on how long things will take, it will normally automatically schedule all your tasks for the day based on some preferences that you set. Now, I actually heard about Motion way back, I think a few years ago, and I was getting a ton of ads, and the way they advertised it was that their founder was looking to optimize his workflow as someone who suffers from ADHD. There's a lot of potential to make your days way more productive by using just simply the right set of tools. So for starters, Motion does this by allowing you to access a feature very similar to Calendly, and that has set custom meeting times and preferences so that people can book with you automatically. This year is going to be the baseline on how your schedule operates because it's something that can't be moved. Motion also knows how you work, and if your to-do list is taking up too much time for meetings, it'll automatically block out spots to make sure that you're not overbooked with meetings when you have a bunch of stuff to actually get done. From there, all you need to do is add in tasks to complete, and the schedule will auto-populate so you know exactly when to do everything on your list. What's cool about this is that it'll also move things around as meetings get booked, as well as to keep it constantly optimized optimized so you're the most productive. Now, if you happen to have a big project that you're working on with your team, you can literally use this the same way, but with multiple members. Motion will basically take a massive to-do list for an upcoming project and break it down into everyone's schedule to meet the deadlines that you set. So while if everyone's busy, you're able to optimize and match that schedule. Right now, I feel like everyone's getting even more busy. It's getting harder to hang out with friends that you grew up with. So having an AI tool that helps you organize that busyness automatically is what I believe to be considered pretty helpful. Now, the biggest downside to Motion, I believe, is the $19 a month, but you can try it out for free to see if it really does save you that time. And if it does increase your productivity by, say, even just like 30%, I think it would possibly be worth that investment. But like always, try it out for free and see whether or not it works for you. Now, the next tool I want to talk about is called MEM, and this here is meant to be an AI-powered knowledge database. Now, let me tell you, it is so time-consuming to prep for meetings when you have a ton of information all over the place. Recently, I came back from the Kajabi conference, and from that, I had like 5 different pages of Apple Notes, and it's with this app where you can find a bit more organization, and with the help of AI, you can put things together at a record-breaking pace. So how does this all work? Well, let's say you're reading the news in the morning, you can save the article to MEM with one button, and maybe you're on Twitter and you see a tweet that gives you a whole bunch of inspiration or something that you should go back to reading. MEM can allow you to go ahead, take those saved items in your MEM account and get AI generated summaries or explanations of the items stored in there. So if you're at work, maybe there's an article that's relevant to a presentation you know is coming up and you want to make sure you're keeping relevant notes, you can go ahead and actually link the presentation with the article very easily. Another example is also the fact that your calendar will integrate straight in with the important information that you got from MEM. So Zoom links, people attending, and maybe even meeting notes will all be in the same place. By the way, this also applies to and links with your own email account, so knowledge can go from email to meetings pretty seamlessly. Mix that with the previous tool that we talked about in this video, and you'll find that you have a pretty solid AI powerhouse. People can literally book meetings with Motion, providing a summary so you know what it's about. From there, a MEM will get generated based on that meeting item in your calendar and link with relevant information for that meeting. So the way I see it is that Motion acts as your personal assistant and then MEM follows up as your own secretary. But guys, look, it gets even better still, because let's say a tweet you saw prompts you to write a blog post for your website. You could ask MEM to do that, but you'd be relying pretty heavily on that information that is someone else's writing. Well, with this next tool called Genei, you can make sure that your problem is solved. So some people have described Genei as being, the Grammarly of research, and it can really enhance your output, especially if you happen to do a lot of writing. Basically, Genei can take the sourcing side of research and make it simple. You can start by either searching for a topic you want to talk about or uploading an article you've already read, and Genei will read the article for you and highlight the key points as well as summarizing what it's about. At first glance, this might not sound super helpful, but if you're trying to learn about something quickly, it can give you quite a head start. If you think about integrating ChatGPT, Motion, and MEM all together, the only missing piece is then finding new information. By adding Genei to your process, you pretty much complete like what I would consider to be the quadfecta of this entire AI productivity transformation. In this instance, what I would do is I would get an article, I would put into Genei, and I could get summaries as well as learning the basics very quickly. I would then copy that over into MEM and then have the bullet points or summary rephrased into an article or a blog post. And all of that would happen so fast that you wouldn't even add it to your to-do list in Motion. So by putting together all of these tools, you have the potential to change how you work and free up so much more time to come up with new ideas, side hustles, and make extra income. I've also gone ahead and linked all of these tools below in the description if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. And if you want to learn more about how to integrate AI into your life, be sure to check out the full ChatGPT guide that I made as well. By the way, if you guys also want to pick up some free stocks, be sure to check out the link down below in the description for Moomoo and Webull. Free stocks are great. It's free money. Thank you all so much again for watching this video. And until next time, peace out.